Shout out to Dirk Griggity, who clipped this piece of Matt Piscatella's interview. Greg Miller, shout out to him as well for being able to bring this gentleman on his show and just let him share good quality information that gives a good insight about what our industry, the gaming industry, looks like. Especially since most of us that actually have these conversations are a vocal minority who've seen the trends pretty much shake up things from years back. I need to go ahead and also highlight that this video, we're going to be looking at comments that came afterwards, even when this particular reality was even shared in this particular video. So one thing that I want you to go ahead and do is just pay attention, and then we're going to read some of the comments.
30% of people that play video games will not buy a video game this year.
You see, this is a very interesting statement, and the very first comment that actually accompanies this, J-Dub says, he's right. Casuals and hardcore buy PS5, not Xbox. 20 million PS5s versus 2 million Xbox. And then Dirt replied and said 70 million consoles sold, or 75 million consoles sold, but GOTY sells 1.5 million. The attach rate is abysmal. You're right, though. Casuals have chosen PlayStation 5. Now, here's the thing, though, and I have to say this because, for the most part, this particular notion that J-Dub is bringing out here is one that a goalpost shift is detected. Because you would have sworn that majority of these players on PlayStation were buying the games and buying the consoles. But the narrative has now changed that, well, the casuals and the hardcore both buy the PS5. That is absolutely nonsense. I have to call it out. I'm sorry, J-Dub, but this makes no sense. That the casuals and the hardcore both buy the PS5. What's that even supposed to mean? What would you say about a player who spends all their time playing one game and masters the game? You're going to call them a casual? That makes no sense at all. So this whole thing about casuals and, hardcore players in that regard is a notion that needs to be evaporated in this particular ideology, because this is more of an economic perspective that is coupled with player preference. Let's keep going and listen to exactly what's going on here.
Wow. So that's a third of the audience that just won't buy. A further 18% purchase a new game every 6 months or less frequently. So these are your folks that are buying Madden or EAFC, or they're picking up Call of Duty, right? Your big mass market only kind of buyer. The kind of purchaser.
So the person that knows how to play Madden like crazy or 2K like crazy, who's really good at it, you're going to call them a casual because of their preference? That makes no sense. Brap replied here and said, actually, this is when he said this about the attach rates. Actually, it isn't. Basically, this attach rate is not abysmal. When you sell 75 million consoles and you can only convert about 6% or 7% max, games like God of War Ragnarok, and when we say 7%, we're talking about even the PS4 and PS5 combined together for Ragnarok, PS4 and PS5 combined together for Horizon Forbidden West, PS4 and PS5 combined together for Days Gone, and about 70 million for a game like Astrobot. It's abysmal. And Brap says this, it isn't when you consider the narrow consumer base that Matt describes in this interview. It's not a narrow consumer base. It is the consumer base. Majority of them on the console side are on PlayStation. So they do make up majority of the representation from the sample size. It says also consider the scope of the budget for AB, which is Astrobot, which is 1.5, is more likely a profitable game. We're going to consider it. We're not saying that that's not the case. But then at the same time, we're just saying that if we wanted to go with the notion that has been presented about PlayStation, about it being this, paramount peak of exclusivity and all the quality, then the game should have easily sold, on a bad 5 million units a day. That's what we're saying. But those 5 million units are very hard to come by on the PlayStation platform. Even Final Fantasy could hardly catch it. Why? Because of this economic reality that Matt Piscatella is actually broadcasting in this particular video. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this was February 21st.
That's watching this show. You're probably buying at least one game a month, maybe more. Only 12% of video game players buy a game once a month. Only 4% buy games more often than once per month. So, when we're talking about the developers and the public.
So he basically pointed out not only are these gamers, more out there just gaming, I would say that they're more the hardcore audience. If they're not sitting there watching these shows, I think they're the ones that are actually playing these video games, right? The Sega channel said, you peddling attach rate now, what's the next subscription churn rates? Saying that this is a new batch of copium supplied for the streets. Yo, this is data set that's pointing out the reality that actually goes to untangle the fugazi that's been spread across the board. Every single one of our dear audience members, be you PlayStation, be you Xbox, be you Steam, be you Epic, you like gaming deals. We love the sales. Why are we going to shy away from the sales now, only to come in here and start trying to flex that one party doesn't buy video games to make our belly warm about a box that we bought? That is absolute hypocrisy. Let's all just call it what it is, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a position where the gaming industry has exposed that those of us that talk, we are the minority. Once we accept it, we know how to move properly. We know how to strategize and support games, titles, projects that we want to see more of. That's how you become that's how you become aware as a consumer. Because customer awareness actually, in a sense, can affect, in my opinion, this is my opinion, it can affect customer behavior. So what would I do? I want to see a project, I'm double dipping. I'm sorry. It may not be day one double dip, but it's going to be a double dip. Why? Because I want a project like that to stay. Look at the list. Look at this list. What is a game that's coming out in the industry supposed to do with something like this? Yet there are people who are talking about peddling copium, when in reality, this is what we're seeing. This is why Shuhei Yoshida, Sega channel, wants you to buy 2 copies of your PlayStation exclusive. More preferably, they want you to buy 1 copy and a remaster in order for you to make up for this percentage of gamers that are not buying these games from y'all. That's what they want you to do. So you coming out here to pretend like console sales or whatever it is, Mr. J-Dub, that the hardcore picked PlayStation or whatever they pick, even if they picked a freaking metal tin can to play their games, its impact is pretty much useless if they're going to pretty much get your own console and log into their favorite platform, aka Call of Duty, Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, NBA 2K, and so on and so forth. I ran the numbers and I looked at even PlayStation's Q4. And what I saw with PlayStation Q4 that really shocked me at the end of the day was that you would rather a company be in the position where it's making more than 30% at the end of the day. That 30% is absolutely crap. Why? Because you have to wait, hope, and possibly pray for it. You do. Instead of you basically moving and going out there to kill something to eat, you now have to sit there and be waiting for somebody else. The 30% should be side income. But when you look at PlayStation's software sold combined, and then compare it to PlayStation's first-party software sold, you see a very shocking trend. I ran the numbers, divide this and say everybody that bought these PlayStation first-party software paid $60 for it. Divide the third-party ones, say they paid $60 for it. The difference is insane. And PlayStation would rather be making 100% revenue of the higher amount of software sold. Even they would prefer more than this number to be making 100% on their platform, 70% on a third-party platform like Steam, because according to Yoshida, it's a way for them to print money. Let's keep going.
That are really being, hurt the most, that we're talking the most about, are the games that are really targeting this like 16% of total players that are, purchasing very frequently, while the mass majority of players are buying a game or two a year and they're playing Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox. And I think that's like the biggest challenge. The biggest competitor to any new video game is Fortnite. I will die on that hill no matter what it is, because you have to fight Fortnite before you fight anything else to get your game seen and purchased.
And then all of these comments, in my opinion, some of them, they accepted the reality. Alt Shift says, sad but true. Console sales, according to your master, are pretty much flat compared to the last generation. 75 million for the PS5 compared to 76.5 million for the PS4 in the same time. 36 million series systems compared to 37 million in the Xbox One. The same time frame between Xbox and PlayStation, we're talking about 180 million for the PS4/Xbox One. Zubitech. 95 million units sold 3 months. Record number for PlayStation. Full game software. Also US number one market. BS from him once again. Zubitech. Can you take some time, put your fanboyism in your back pocket, and think about the ramifications of what he just said? Those so-called 95 million units sold in 3 months, majority of it, 89.7 million of those in that particular time frame, right? Or sorry, 74% of them. Sorry, I'm making a mistake here. 95 million, sorry, 89. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Were third party. 11.6 were first party. If you go ahead and give these as full game sales as full price, even though we know that they were not full price, you'll realize that that percentage is abysmal, and PlayStation would rather that this particular software sales metric flipped. They are not buying PlayStation games. You put the data out here and selectively did not highlight that Matt Piscatella is telling the accurate truth. This fanboyism is a bug in brain. It is so weird. This person said typical BS from Piscatella. This is why this man left y'all in your ignorance on Twitter and moved to a different platform. This person said Fortnite, COD, GTA, Minecraft, and Roblox dominate the mass market gamers. Some AAA new releases get played for a few weeks or days, then it's back to status quo. These folks, let's just keep going. 4% of gamers buy more than one game a month. 12% buy one game a month. It's a wrap. It's not sustainable. The industry must contract. This person said, I probably buy 2 new games a year at full price. Everything else, I'm either playing through Game Pass or getting when it's on sale. For a lot of people, $70 is a lot of money to spend on entertainment, or at least isn't a priority expense. This person said, explain Spider-Man 2 or even God of War Ragnarok sales. Both individually most likely sold more than all Xbox first-party IPs purchased on the Xbox ecosystem since probably the Xbox One was released. That's not true, but definitely since the Xbox Series X was reduced. Don't use PC sales or player numbers. That's nonsense. What do you mean don't use PC sales? PlayStation's putting their games on PC. Are we going to ignore Helldivers 2, which outsold Marvel's Spider-Man 2? Get the heck out of here with this nonsense. Why do people like to want to do that? And here's what's crazy with God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok sold 15 million units. And you know what was crazy? God of War Ragnarok had access to more than 75 million units of consoles that could download that game. I don't know, bro. If these hardcore PlayStation fans can't see this, I don't think anything is going to let them see it just yet until it all comes crashing down. That's exactly what it is that it's going to take for these folk to get it into their head. Or maybe they know and they have to posture because they've built entire ethos, entire, platforms on this particular, framework. Comment section. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace out.